I want to kill whatever evil has crept into the Dreaming City.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Destiny. We got an amazing trailer yesterday that showed us a lot about the Dreaming City. It is of course Destiny's first endgame destination. That means that this will be chock full of activities. It is of course the destination of the raid, and it is where you're going to be spending most of your time playing Forsaken. The other destination coming with Forsaken is of course the Tangled Shore. That is where you're going to begin your Forsaken adventure. That's where you're going to be hunting down the Barons. You can tackle those in any order that we want, at least the first 6, and I believe that the final 2 and of course our face-off with Uldren will be happening in the Dreaming City. That's just my best guess, and there are a few things in this trailer that might support that, but for the most part we're getting a better sense that this might actually be telling us a secondary story, and it might be a lot more closely tied to the Queen. So we are going to be diving into a little bit of story speculation, so if you want to go in blind and you don't want that to be accidentally spoiled if I happen to be correct, then click away. Otherwise, let's get into it. Alright, so before we jump into it, I do want to remind you that I have my giveaway going on right now. It started a few days ago. It is to win a digital deluxe edition copy of Destiny 2 Forsaken. I have all of the information down in the description. You can watch the previous video to learn more about how you can enter to win. Aside from that, it's a simple Gleam giveaway. It requires very simple tasks like subscribing to this channel, which you might already be. So if you want a chance at that, go ahead and enter down below. Anyways, let's dive into the trailer.
This is our most sacred place. Outsiders are forbidden.
Alright, so this is the first place we're going to stop. Here we see Petra in the Dreaming City. There's a good chance that this is part of the campaign since you see her in what looks like a cutscene. And we do know that she is the destination vendor for the Dreaming City, so you'll be visiting her a lot throughout your endgame experience. But like I mentioned earlier, I do believe the campaign will wrap up inside of the Dreaming City, so there's a good chance that this might actually be one of the final missions, perhaps? I'm not really sure. Although, like I also mentioned, this is giving us a lot of really strong indications, as we'll see a little bit later in the trailer, that there might be a lot more going on in the Dreaming City that is sort of not necessarily related to the story of Forsaken. Or maybe it is. Maybe Uldren is possessed somehow, and then we get to see exactly who is possessing him in the Dreaming City. Either way, Petra is back, so that's cause for celebration. She's one of my favorite characters in Destiny 1. She just looks super awesome and is super badass, so I'm very excited to have her back.
I want answers.
So stopping here, we saw a few clips of the Dreaming City. It is a pretty large destination. We heard from Game Informer, I believe it was, that it's about the size of Nessus, which is nothing to shake a stick at. Nessus is the second largest destination currently in the game, so that's pretty awesome. And here specifically, you see this sort of fog-ridden outskirts, which is definitely somewhere you can explore. Anytime in trailers we see fire teams of 3, that means it is a place that is explorable, at least in story. My guess is that it is a big open expanse, and there might be some hidden secrets here and there to find. And also remember that this destination is on a 3-week cycle, so it's going to look different from week to week for 3 weeks, and then it's going to reset back to the way it was on the first week. So in some ways, it's sort of 3 times the size of Nessus, and as we'll see in a little bit, it sort of has a little upside down type situation going on. So depending on how big that is, it's probably going to be 4 times the size of Nessus if you count that as sort of one of the instances of the Dreaming City. But here on this pause screen, you can see what looks like a portal. This might be the way to get into this sort of upside down realm. We'll see that again later on in the trailer. This could be simply a puzzle room. It might look different from week to week. I'm very excited about the possibilities of these spaces, but I just hope there's some awesome stuff to fill them. Alright, so this is pretty interesting. We're going to see that character in a lot more detail than one in the way back. And she's being defended by 3 knights, and they're not normal knights. These ones have gigantic axes in their hands. You can see it most clearly on our right. And of course, this naturally brings up a lot of really interesting questions. Is this the final boss for Forsaken? Is this an additional boss after the campaign? We assume that Uldren is going to be the sort of quote-unquote final boss for Forsaken, but this might be something different. Is this a precursor to the raid? They did mention that there's going to be some solo endgame activities, and maybe this is a boss that you can do solo to get some powerful gear or some really cool rewards, who knows. But anyways, here we are on puzzles. This is definitely a very big puzzle room. There's some glyphs on the left and right. You might have to interact with them in a certain way. These also could be the ones that reveal themselves over time. Interestingly enough, I think a lot of us are going to be poring over these trailers after Forsaken launches, because I think we might be getting some clues into maybe the second or third week rotation of these spaces.
I want to kill whatever evil has crept into...
Alright, well this is a place we definitely need to stop, and let's talk about it. So a lot of people think this is Eris Morn, but literally the only thing that could make you think that is the fact that her eyes are covered. But if we look a little bit more carefully, these are identical to Queen Mara Sov's Techians, I think that's how it's pronounced, or Tech Witches. They are essentially sort of her coven, the ones who helped her summon that sort of Nova Bomb looking thing that took out a couple of Oryx's ships. And of course it looked like Oryx took out her catch, but we do know she did survive through the Grimoire. And there's a good chance that her coven survived as well. However, these ones are taken, or at least they look like they're taken. They're taking things actively. A while ago we saw that this place is cursed. There's a very good chance that there are 3 of them, and that they are the ones causing the curse. And what does that mean as far as the queen herself? There's a very good chance, in fact an increased chance, that she is going to appear inside this Forsaken expansion one way or another. And hell, if her coven is taken, is there a chance that Queen Mara Sov herself is also taken? The Taken Queen is starting to look like a very apt title indeed.
The Dreaming City.
Well, here is the text for the Ancient Curse, and I do believe that this is referring to that coven of Taken Tech Witches. But regardless, we're seeing what looks like a very interesting sort of jump puzzle. I don't think this is the raid, I think this is part of the destination, maybe on your way to confront one of them. And here, it sort of looks like a different perspective of the previous place we froze on, so there's a very high chance that you're going to be confronting one of these tech witches here. It looks like here's one of them, but it does look like she has some sort of weird barrier around her. My guess is that you might have to take out those knights that we saw earlier. It's really hard to say. Either way, the grenade launcher is doing nothing. And that was a pretty cool shot of a part of the jump puzzle. Having to avoid giant asteroids floating by seems pretty fun. Alright, here we have the Blind Well. We know this is like Escalation Protocol, although I believe we saw this originally in the Tangled Shore. I could be mistaken, maybe there's a different version of it over there. But this one I really like because it's a giant arena. It has a dedicated space. Now here we see a sort of central area with this sort of stem in the middle, but we do know that this will require an offering for it to work. There's probably going to be different difficulties, just like there was with Court of Oryx or Archon's Forge in Destiny 1. And we do know it's going to utilize a lot of that background space you see there. So here are the awesome rewards. I do believe that this is the Dreaming City set. We don't know if there's going to be a separate Dreaming City set from the Blind Well, but at least where you can get these weapons is definitely from the Blind Well. And I really hope that they have a sort of curated perk set, but at the same time I do want them to be random to give me a reason to continue to grind through this activity. I don't know, maybe they can find some kind of middle ground. Maybe there's one set perk that's awesome and overpowered, and then there's the second perk that makes it a little bit more special, so you can at least chase a perk that you like. Now, this does also bring up another topic, and that is understanding how many new weapons we're getting in the game. As of right now, we have confirmed, of course, the new destinations. There is a Gambit set of weapons, there is a Tangled Shore set of weapons, and there is a Blind Well set of weapons. There will most likely be a Raid set. There's also going to be a brand new set for the Gunsmith, Lord Shaxx, and Commander Zavala. Those are all confirmed. Sadly, no new weapons or armor for the planetary destinations. I'm super bummed about that. I was hoping they would keep it relevant, at least give us a Forsaken version of that stuff with randomized rolls, but again, I can dream. Here we have the sort of Ascendant Realm. This is going to be a sort of mirror copy of the destination above it, except here it's all dark and taken and gloomy, and it's going to have even more puzzles for us to solve. And we know that even to get in here, we have to solve certain puzzles to sort of find the doorway inside the Nightmare Realm. But if I had to guess, my guess is that the coolest and deepest, darkest secrets of this game are going to be found in this area. If this is an endgame destination, if it's the most challenging activity in the game, and you already have to prove yourself to get in here, this is definitely going to be a very challenging space, and I'm so looking forward to exploring it.
There is an immense creature at the heart of this place.
Now, of course, we're going to stop here for a second. I think this is the only shot of the raid itself we see a fire team of 6. In previous games, anytime you see a fire team of 6, it does imply that they're raiding. Although the Dreaming City is a very special and new idea, so there's a good chance that you might be able to set boots down into the Dreaming City with 6 people. That would be pretty awesome, especially for the Blind Well. But anyways, I think this brings up the topic of what we might expect inside of the raid. I personally think and kind of hope that it is a genuine Taken raid. We really haven't had a Taken raid before. King's Fall was mostly Hive. In fact, the only time you encountered Taken was if you took too long on any particular boss, the final ad wave would be Taken enemies. Of course, Oryx is the exception, but you get the point. Now, inversely, we do hear that there is an immense creature in the raid. There's a good chance they're referring to the raid boss itself, and there's a very good chance that it is an Ahamkara dragon. There's been some recent hints in Destiny 2 lore about the Ahamkara. Of course, there's also the sort of built-up thing with Savathun. It's really hard to say exactly what this raid is going to entail, and we're likely not going to figure it out until we play the raid ourselves.
The fate of the Dreaming City is at stake.
Destiny 2 Forsaken, available September 4th.
Anyways, that brings us to the end of the video. Those are the sort of major beats that I wanted to touch on. Of course, we could have probably stopped on every single frame of this video and found something cool. And on that note, if you found something really awesome that I missed, definitely let me know in the comments below. Leave a timestamp, whatever you want. But yeah, I mean, this trailer was probably one of the most impressive trailers that I've seen. I'm super excited for the Dreaming City. I cannot wait to get into that destination and look into every single little nook and cranny and see what I can find. But anyways, remember, if you are interested in Forsaken and want to get a free copy or maybe a copy for a friend, be sure to enter my contest down below. Just follow the Gleam link. It has you do very simple steps to verify your subscription, verify that you follow me on other places for some additional entries. It's pretty straightforward. I hope you win. Anyways, thanks for watching. Happy gaming, and I will see you all next time.